So why am I cutting this very expensive ball joint apart? Well, you're about to find out. Today we're going to give you a comparison of some of the most popular ball joints we have here at Northridge 4x4. And there's a big range. We've got the Apex Chassis heavy-duty ball joints. We have the Synergy heavy-duty ball joints, the TerraFlex heavy-duty adjustable ball joints, the Dynatrac Pro Steer joints, and the Metal Cloak baller joints. And it is a wide range of different ball joints with different features, and they all have different price points. And we're not here to give one ball joint a big fluff piece or to do a hatchet job on another ball joint. We're here to show you the differences so that you can choose which one is the winner for your Jeep, for your build, and for your budget. All right, now let's talk about the different types of ball joints, and there are a few. First up, we have our heavy-duty OE type replacement joints. And that on this table, that's the Apex Chassis and the Synergy heavy-duty ball joints. These are designed similar to an OE style ball joint, and they're made with better materials, so they're gonna be stronger and they're gonna last longer. And when you hit the end of their life cycle and they get loose, you're just gonna press them out, press new ones in, and throw the old ones in the scrap bin. Now next up is going to be our adjustable ball joints, and both TerraFlex and Synergy makes adjustable ball joints. And as they wear, as that ball starts to get loose in there, you can actually tighten them up, and that's going to help that ball joint last longer. And then at the end of its life cycle, you're gonna press these out, press new ones in, throw the old ones in the scrap bin. Now the next type of ball joint is gonna be the rebuildable ball joints. And once you press these in place, that body stays. Once you hit the end of the life cycle, you can tear it apart, order up a rebuild kit, completely rebuild this, and you're good to go. Now our last type of joint is the adjustable and rebuildable ball joint. So as this wears, you can adjust it in and make it tighter, which is going to give you a longer ball joint life. When you finally do reach the end of its cycle life, you can order up a rebuild kit and rebuild the whole joint. All right, now one thing we want to talk about is smooth body versus knurled body ball joints. From the factory, your new axle is going to come with smooth body ball joints, and they are a press fit into that end forging, or what's called your steering seat. And each time you press in and press out a set of ball joints, it's going to deform that ball joint board just a little bit. And eventually, that ball joint board just won't be able to grip a smooth body ball joint anymore. And that's where knurled ball joint bodies come into play. They're a little bit larger in diameter, and they have these serrations all the way around them. So when you press them in, they're going to get a nice tight bite in that worn ball joint board. However, these are a last-ditch fix. Once you've gone to knurled ball joint bodies, you cannot go back to a smooth ball joint body. And because they are larger with the serrations, you're only going to get 2, maybe 3 knurled body changes before it's just time for a new axle housing. Now all these manufacturers have both smooth and knurled body versions of their ball joints, except for Metal Cloak. They currently only have smooth body ball joints, but they do have knurled body versions in the works. Now let's talk about what ball joints really are. And you have 4 of them on your Jeep. There's 2 on each side. You have an upper and a lower ball joint, and they're what your steering knuckle pivots around. But they do more than just allow your steering knuckle to pivot, but to see that, we need to go deeper. So we grabbed a JK axle, or at least what's left of a JK axle, and we sliced open the C's and the ball joint so you can see what's going on. Now your lower ball joint, that truly is a ball joint. You can see the ball right there, and it rides inside of this cup. And not only does it do the pivoting duties, it's also carrying the majority of the weight of the front of your Jeep. Now the upper ball joint, it doesn't have a ball in there. It actually has this tapered bushing in there, and that's to protect from side loading. Because as you're driving down the road, those big tires of yours is pushing this knuckle in and out, and that ball joint has to resist that side loading. Now, because the lower ball joint is holding the majority of the weight, this is typically the one we see wear out the most. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at a factory ball joint. Again, this is the factory ball joint. You can see you have a ball stud here. This is the housing. It's crimped down around to hold the ball stud in place. And then if you look really closely on this factory ball joint, you'll see this plastic inner liner. This is a heavy duty plastic that's designed to take the load of a factory vehicle. Now normally there is quite a bit more grease in there. We wipe most of it out so you can see what's going on. And the problem with the factory ball joints is that plastic liner. That's what's gonna wear out, especially when you're going off-road and now you're gonna get contamination up in there and there's no way to flush it out. There's no grease fitting on here for us to put new grease in and force the old grease and the contaminants out of the way. And this is why we really push to get rid of the factory ball joints and go to aftermarket ball joints. Now, the only way we'd be able to show you what's going on inside every one of these is if we cut them all open. So that's exactly what we did. There's the Apex Chassis heavy duty joint, the Synergy heavy duty joint, the TerraFlex heavy duty adjustable joint, the Dynatrac Pro Steer, and the Metal Cloak baller joint. Yes, we took a cutoff wheel to every single one of them just so we could show you what's going on inside. So let's dive deep. So let's first dive into the Apex Chassis heavy duty ball joint. You have a heat treated 4140 chromoly ball stud in there, and then they polish the ball. And that rides inside of a forged high strength steel housing. And if you look really closely, you'll see this gold or yellow stripe in here. And this is a low friction bronze liner. And that's just to help it turn smoothly. Now, of course, it does have a grease zerk so you can get new grease in and force any old grease and contamination out. And then they do use a traditional style flexible boot to hold that grease in to allow movement. Now, in talking with Apex Chassis, they tell us that the company that's been building their ball joints for them to the Apex specs have been building chassis parts for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. Now, these ball joints also come with a lifetime warranty, and they are available both in a smooth body and a knurled body. All right, the next joint in our lineup is the Synergy heavy duty ball joint, and it features a heat treated 4140 stud and ball assembly, and that rides inside of a high strength 1045 steel housing. One of the things you're gonna notice is that there is not a liner in here. Synergy is running it metal on metal, so that heat treated ball is running on that high strength steel. And you don't have a liner to wear out. You're just gonna slowly over time wear the metal out. Now you wanna make sure you keep it greased, and Synergy does have these little grease channels in the ball to help distribute that grease through the joint. Now, other features of this joint is you have a full flexible boot, you have a top mounted zerk fitting, so as you push new grease in from the top, it's gonna come down and around, forcing contaminants, water, and the old grease down and out. Now, Synergy also offers their bodies both in knurled and in smooth body, and they come with a limited lifetime warranty. Now, one of the things I want to mention about both the Synergy heavy duty ball joint and that Apex Chassis heavy duty ball joint is they are constructed like a factory ball joint in that you have a housing, they put the ball stud in, then it gets the top plate, and then everything is crimped down and around it. And this is gonna make for some very tight steering when you first install it. Some people call it memory steer, and basically what it is, it's just that everything's super tight and it's got a seat in there. So after you get a couple weeks of driving on it, you'll notice that your steering will smooth right out. Now, the next ball joint to dive into is the TerraFlex heavy duty adjustable ball joint. And this also runs a heat treated 4140 chromoly ball stud assembly. And you can see the little grooves in here to help move the grease around. It has a long wearing sintered metal bushing on top. And then it's all inside a high strength 1045 steel housing. Now, all ball joints are gonna wear. And as they wear, they're gonna get loose. And as it gets looser, it's just gonna wear a little faster and a little faster and a little faster. And what TerraFlex has done differently is they have this threaded metal barrel. And you can use the included wrench and tighten it down as it gets loose. And by keeping this ball assembly tighter, it's gonna give you a longer life of the joint. Now, instead of a large flexible boot, this has a small automotive type seal. Then we have dual grease ports. The body is available both in a smooth body and a knurled body. Now, they've also machined the body for a snap ring groove, And they include 2 snap rings, so you can put those on the top bodies, and that's to help stop ball joint pull through during a catastrophic failure. And the TerraFlex joint also comes with a limited lifetime warranty. Now the next ball joint in our lineup is the Dynatrac Pro Steer ball joint, and this is the first of our rebuildable ball joints. And Dynatrac does do things a little differently. First off, their center stud is a heat-treated 4340 chromoly, and everything's held into a billet high-strength steel body. Now, one thing that's different is the stud and ball is not one full assembly. It's actually 2 pieces. So you have your stud and you have what's called a spherical bearing. And that is what allows our movement of the stud, and it's what takes our load. Now, when I had mentioned earlier that none of these aftermarket joints have a plastic liner, I spoke a little too fast, because inside this spherical bearing is a Teflon liner, so that will be our wear surface. However, Dynatrac does tell us these are built to military specifications. We have a hardened stainless steel ball in a hardened race, and it's going to take a lot of abuse. And we've seen this over the years. These Pro Steer joints have proven to be very strong. But what makes these joints so popular is that they're completely rebuildable. When you do have enough wear on this ball and race assembly, you can replace it. And you don't have to pull the whole joint out of the axle. You're going to leave the housing up in the axle. You're going to peel the seal out comes a snap ring, and then the stud and spherical bearing drops out. You clean it all up, put the new parts from the rebuild kit in, and put it all back together. Now, some of the other features of this joint is we have a machined-in snap ring groove, just like on that TerraFlex joint. And they do include snap rings for your upper joints. That'll help stop the joint pull through on a catastrophic failure. And Dynatrac does offer the other large parts separately too. So if you can bend or break a stud, you can order a brand new one. And then for a warranty, Dynatrac does cover these for 1 year. Now the last ball joint in our lineup is the Metal Cloak baller joint. And this is both an adjustable and a rebuildable ball joint. Now the Metal Cloak joint has a heat-treated 4140 ball stud assembly, and you can see the grooves cut right in it to help move the grease through the joint. The housing is that high-strength 1045 steel, and then both your upper race and your lower race, these are hardened S7 tool steel races. It's very tough material designed for big loads and long life. Now, as I said, this is adjustable. So as those races and that ball start to wear and things start to get loose, you can use the included Metal Cloak wrench to tighten that cap and force those races together to get that joint tighter. Now, once you've got to the end of life of this baller joint, it is fully rebuildable, and it's rebuildable in the Jeep, just like the Pro Steer joint. You're gonna pull this cap off, and then that ball stud and the races are gonna drop out. You clean everything up and install a new rebuild kit that comes with the new races, a new ball stud assembly, and seals. Now this joint also features a top-mounted Zerk fitting, so as you pump grease in, it's gonna pump the new grease down and the old grease out. And as we're talking features, we do have to show off that upper baller joint. It is adjustable and rebuildable, just like the lower joint. But instead of a snap ring groove and a snap ring, Metal Cloak offers a hard anodized T6 aluminum nut that's gonna screw down and lock that joint into place so you don't have that joint pull through on a catastrophic failure. Then you have this 6063 top cap that's gonna screw down. It's gonna protect that upper grease fitting, and it's gonna look blingy. Now, one thing we do need to bring up with the baller joints is the shared load capability. Now, in most ball joint assemblies, the lower joint is gonna be supporting most of the weight. The upper joint is supporting the load of the knuckle as far as movement in and out. And the baller joints, when installed correctly, you can adjust them so that the upper joint is also sharing that weight carrying capacity. That's gonna make this joint assembly stronger, and it should make things live a little bit longer. If you have a set of RCVs or are looking to go to a set in the future, you wanna make sure whatever ball joints you choose are compatible. And all of the ones in the comparison today are. Now, budget is a big thing, and we normally don't like talking about pricing because it'll date a video. I mean, if you're watching this video 2 years from when we filmed it, these prices are gonna be different. But it is important in this discussion. And as of today, the pricing on these joints is now, as far as packaging, all these manufacturers do a good job packaging their ball joints, so they're going to get to your doorstep undamaged in shipping. There are a couple standouts though. Paraflex with their big foam block on the inside where the ball joints are just nestled down perfectly inside. And then you have the Metal Cloak baller joints, and they come in a zippered case, it's foam lined, and when you open it up, well, it's kind of a baller presentation. All right, so now we got them all lined back up nice and pretty, and there you have it, a fairly in-depth look at all these different ball joints. And as I said at the beginning of the video, this isn't about making one look really good or making one look bad, because every one of these joints has a place in the off-road world. And it all depends on you, how your Jeep is built, and what your budget is. Although this may seem like we got pretty deep on this subject, we barely scratched the surface of this. There's so much more we could have brought into it. We didn't want to bore you with too much technical data. So if you've got questions about any one of these particular joints, or you got comments, especially if you've been running any one of these joints and you have experience with them, I'm sure the other viewers would love to hear from you. While you're down in the comment section, you'll also find a link to each one of these joints in the description box. And that's about all I got for you today. So I gotta thank you for watching. I can't wait for the next video where I get to start cutting things apart.